Howdy folks, how are we? Are we well? It's good to see you. Thanks for joining me. Slightly odd video for me, this one. Not the usual format here. Totally unscripted. Just decided to do it this morning actually, but I think an important one to do. I had to make this video before I release the next one because there is a scene in it that I am convinced will make people say Wilson. But what I'm about to show you is 100% real. It's not been doctored in any way. What happened, I think, could be the closest yet to pushing the boundaries of the simulation. Allow me to explain. See, when I edit the videos, a lot of my scenes, I switch to external views, and it's these fast cuts that might make people say Wilson. I thought about leaving the scene to the internal shot only when I was making the main video, as it is, after all, it's quite a dramatic scene as it is. I mean, my teeth were clenched and I tensed up for the bang that never came. And I do these scene switches to enhance the moment and allow you to see things from a different perspective. But since this scene is so spectacular, I do feel that, I'm pretty sure people will think it's a different shot when I switch to the external, and that might make people just have that element of disbelief. So what I'm going to show you now the internal shot in 2 speed runs so that you can see it is the same internal shot that I use before I switch to the externals in the next video. So you're going to see the whole sequence in the internal in this video, because you're not going to see that fully in the next video, in the main videos. Just check this out. Mad, isn't it? now one more time, but this time in slow motion. Now pay attention to the trees, because we'll talk a little bit about that later on, and the angle of attack of the aircraft as well. How I didn't scrape the tail at the very least is beyond me. It's just insane. I've come close to the floor before, but never that close. So here's the slow motion. So here we go. Just, I'm coming down, I'm thinking I'm not going to make this, and just watch this. It's crazy, absolutely crazy, and I was just laughing my head off because I just couldn't believe that I got away with it. Mad. It is possible to hit objects in this sim if it's a delicate enough contact. The trouble is, with a massive aircraft such as a fighter jet, it's hard to just delicately touch another plane mid-flight without damage. I mean, I've done it before where I've come away unscathed, but unfortunately the poor fella who I gently sort of scraped wings with ended up with damage, and me with a red face, all embarrassed. But it's difficult to hit buildings as well and come away with no damage. I have done it with the undercarriage down before and just sort of bounced off the rooftop, and I thought, that was a bit close. I've touched the wing along the floor once as well in DCS when I refueled and rearmed on the Buddy Spike server. So I came down in a hurry, did the rearm refuel. As soon as I had all the weapons and I had the confirmation, the verbal confirmation it was all done, I wanted to get in the air really quickly again, so I turned too tightly and I actually dragged the missile, the AM-120 that sits on the wingtip. I actually dragged that along the floor, and then I took off and it was fine. And it was all fine until I fired the missile, and then the wingtip just caught fire and I began to spin. I managed to rescue the aircraft on that one and land again, but so I do think they model the damage pretty well. Yeah, there's another story as well. It was an airbase on the Syria map. It's actually within the borders of Israel. It has 2 landing strips in an X shape, but it's too small for fighter jets. But I did an emergency landing there in the F-16 once, and as I was coming in, I realised there wasn't a lot of runway to land on, but I had hardly any fuel. In fact, I think I had a flame out. Yeah, and I wasn't carrying any ordnance, so I was super light. I managed to get the wheels down, but in order to land on the runway, I had to really just land literally wheels right as the tarmac appeared from the desert. Doing so brought me really close to the trees, and I actually hit them. I hit the trees as I was coming in. I think about 140, 130 knots, something like that. But it was delicate enough to actually bounce off the trees. So there's obviously a hitbox there. So in this clip though, if you do watch it again, in fact I'll run it again while I'm talking, I don't hit anything. I don't hit anything at all. And had I would have I'm convinced I would have exploded at that speed. Also, if you're thinking, yeah, I bet you're lying, I bet you had invincibility on, I bet you were invulnerable, I bet you had that mode on. Well, first off, I don't lie here on this channel. I've got my reputation to think of, you know, so at the end of the day, there's no good lying, because you're just going to end up getting caught and it's just going to look terrible for your channel. But even if I didn't care about that, you'll notice I don't bounce at all. So if I had invulnerability on, so when you've got that mode on, you bounce off objects, don't you? Even the sea, if you touch it, you bounce off the sea, unless you hit it at certain angles, in which case it seems to grab you like thick tar and drag you down, doesn't it? But no, we were not set to invincible. In fact, I did for a moment afterwards call out to Keaton. I asked, are we set to invulnerable? And he assured me we weren't, but despite him telling me that, I couldn't resist, and I went to the settings afterwards just to inspect, and he was right, we weren't. And I was just scratching my head thinking, how the hell did I get away with that? Yeah, I just wonder with this, are certain trees, do they not have a hitbox? Can you go right through them, certain trees? I don't know how many different tree types DCS uses, but let's say they use 10 different trees. I'm just wondering whether the smaller ones are you can actually fly through them. But maybe certain parts of the trees are passable. The top 50% of the tree doesn't count. Does anybody here know? Is anybody here part of DCS who might want to chime in and just fill out, or did I just literally the very tips of the tree, and the hitbox for the trees are just sort of 20% in from the outer edges of the 3D model? Possible. I can't have been any closer. I mean, one thing's for sure, whilst I did intend to go low and to get as close to the tree, I will admit, once I was committed, I did think that I'd overcooked it, and I did brace myself for the bang, but it never came. For those wondering why, yes, I was fired at by a heat-seeking missile that was very, very close to me, and I just caught a glimpse of it as I was trying to avoid the previous 2 shots. So it fired at me 3 times, this ground target did, and I saw the third one coming in, and I thought, I can't outturn this at the angle I was at, so the only way to defeat it was to put some trees between me and the missile. So I did intend to get as low as that, but I really didn't think I was going to make it once I realised I'd gone a little bit too steep. So slight spoiler alert there for you, but honestly, when you see it in the main video, it's very dramatic. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the rest of the video. The subject that I was covering was the hot topic of the F-16 and the F-18, both of my favourite aircraft in DCS, but I was pressed to choose one over the other, and you know, and I couldn't. I was asked, you know, which do I want to fly for this one? Felbolt and I decided to go in the 16 together so I could just give him a few tips whilst we were in the air. So I went with the 16, but whilst there, I was still trying to work out which jet I prefer. I tried to let looks decide and I couldn't, and then I tried to let the ability of the aircraft decide and I couldn't. Even though I touch on it in the video, I wanted you to watch it and pay attention to the scenes that I put together for you to help me decide, and you know, you come up with your reasons why you like one over the other. See, the difficulty is I'm flying the 16, so of course most of the shots will be me internally in the 16, but I try and include Keaton in the F-18, so I got his track file as much as I can to help tell a story. So when you see it, yeah, let me know which one's your favourite and why. I'm honestly genuinely keen to see what you say, because you might make me think differently. You can see in some of these shots too, as I'm talking now in the background, you can see the two aircraft when I'm flying side by side. Video is done, it's ready to be made public. I missed last week's deadline. I had things worked out, but could have done it the weekend before, but I went to Scotland for the weekend, so I couldn't do any editing, so I just needed that extra couple of days to finish it, so there's been a delay. If you're new to the channel, what you might not know is that I don't just hit record when I'm flying and then throw in a few external views afterwards, just here and there. It's a little bit more than that. So anyway, I use a lot of externals, so you'd be forgiven to think if it was just a single pass and I've just got my externals, and no, I actually go back into the replay several times, sometimes double figures, 10 times plus, to get the external shots that I need from all the different angles, all the different aircraft, all the missiles. I try and get it all. So that takes usually from a flight of 30 minutes, that usually takes me over a week or so just to get the external shots. I try and sort of get as many as I can, because obviously I flew the mission, so I know know what's coming, and it's just a case of going in there to get as many of the shots as I can, and then I might voice correct a few things afterwards if I've said something really stupid or what have you, because obviously as I fly the internal shot, when I first fly the mission, I'm recording my voice as well. So, but afterwards, as I say, I might do a bit of video editing on the voice. Might correct a few things here, but whilst I'm video editing, of course, I might realise that I need to go back in to get some other external shots, because it would make a really great scene. So, and then the editing, as I say, this is where it makes it all come alive. That takes the longest. I try and do it as quick as I can, but now with my new line of work, I don't have much time in the week to do it anymore. So, but that can take quite a few weeks. So, but anyway, I've just realised I'm rambling, and if you're still here, wow, thank you. Really appreciate all of your views, all of your comments. I see familiar names in the comments section, and it's always great to see your comments and see that you're here. So thank you very much for your support. Talking to support, if you want to support the channel, I do have a buy me a coffee link at the bottom if you want to help us out. It really does help. Maybe I can get hold of the MiG-29 at some point in the future. I know that's been out a while now, but I always like to wait anyway, because the reviews come out immediately, don't they? But I always like things to cook for a little bit and problems to be ironed out, and then I delve in and see things for myself. New video will be out ASAP. Might depending on this video, I've recorded this on Tuesday morning, so depending on the launch of this video, but I'll hopefully get the what day is it today? The 7th. So I'll try and get the main video out for this Friday. So, and I'll try and get this video out Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. But take care, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all later. Take care. Bye bye.